Hello, my name is Jutta and I'm together with Oliver today to talk about a certain topic. And our topic is monetization today. But Oliver, may you introduce yourself and your company first?
Yeah, hi. My name is Oliver Meurer. I'm from Flowworks. We're a software house. We build software for anything that is media. So we have customers who produce, we have broadcasters, post-productions, we have advertising agencies, industrials, news agencies, pretty much anybody who has or produces media, and then of course wants to share it, hence monetize it.
Perfect. Yeah, monetize archives. That's our topic today. Could you give us a general overview what we can understand under that?
Look, the core thinking is we realize from a lot of new customers that they are very preoccupied with ingesting their content, which is quite natural and needs to be covered. And then later down the road, when they start wanting to use their content, especially for monetization, they're rather surprised how complex that can get because they suddenly have to serve so many different formats, for example, or so many specifications of their delivery targets. So what we keep emphasizing, and this is what the talk is also about, you really have to think your system through even when you start the system, because ingesting is a fairly organized process. Outgesting to many, many different sales outlets, be it a website, be it a VOD platform, be it a delivery, can get very complex.
So what does the customer need to provide you or in general to ingest his content to get the proper archive?
Well, that varies because you have different types of content. Really the only thing we need to know where is it. We can look ourselves, what is it? We need to find out what metadata people have, that's essential, and where that resides. The methods of ingesting can vary. I mean, we'll have several different types of ingest routes even with the same customer because he has different resources where that content lies. He might have running content being produced which comes from different production partners, etc., etc. So that's a fairly simple affair. It can look complex, but if you have enough practice, it's not that bad.
Okay, but do you need then more information to add to the content to really use it at the end?
That's the thing that people misunderstand because it's not really about sharing what you have in your archive. It's really sharing what you have in your archive in a fashion that makes sense to the recipient. So if you are publishing to a VOD platform, they will give you very specific requirements that you have to meet. Be it codecs, be it formats, be it metadata, be it accompanying items such as box cover images or gallery pictures, certain metadata, not just rights metadata, but descriptive metadata. Maybe you need it in 5 different languages. And a lot of our customers don't really think along those ways when they start a system. That's why we keep going on about it. And when we say you need to monetize directly from the archive, it really goes to say you have to monetize, but you have to think that in your archive.
How could we practically imagine, how does it look like? Is it the same system where I ingest and where I share the content, or is it different systems?
No, it should. Actually, that's a very important second point to successful monetization. You have to have one system. It doesn't make any sense if you are monetizing across different platforms to then have numerous parallel environments and technologies for that, because it's just going to be inefficient. You're going to make copies of your files, you need somebody to look after the platform, you might have a mismatch in metadata, etc., etc. So you need to really streamline your monetization in order to realize your margin. The margins are slim and it's all about volume, so you need to have your archive in order and in place, and it needs to be one single system which is capable of delivering to hundreds of different recipients or targets.
What do I need to provide to you or to the platform to have a complete archive where I can make money out of it?
Well, simply you actually have to know, or you have to tell us, how do you plan to monetize? So we have customers who have, for example, feature films or documentaries or series, and they would, for example, monetize partially via publishing to VOD platforms. But we're not talking about 2 or 3 VOD platforms, we're talking about 100, maybe 200 different VOD platforms. So all you need to do is tell us which are those platforms that you're publishing to, because we're very seasoned, we know what we're doing, and of course other manufacturers also know that. And there are certain standards you can conform with to cover a lot of those platforms, but there are additional specific needs for individual platforms. So if we know where you're publishing, for example, to VOD platforms, we can tell you and actually build into your system your requirements that you need to meet from an editorial management process. The follow-on then of actually publishing and delivering to, say, a VOD platform is then automated. That's an important point, of course, but we will tell you, if you tell us where you want to publish, we will tell you what you need to be able to, what you need to have to be able to publish from directly from archive.
Can I get my own publishing site?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people really don't really understand. They have a lot of power in their hands. They have very attractive content and they might want to publish it on, say, a VOD platform, but why don't you do your own VOD platform, especially if it's a niche product? Why don't you have your company sales site? You actually own a lot of content, but maybe you also own a lot of footage. Have you thought about actually monetizing that? That could be done through a fairly simple service, just as a web service. Basically, it's a website which is attached directly to your archive, just like your homepage, but it's actually geared and built towards customers who are searching for content and actually want to buy it from you directly.
Do you also help me to get customers to my platform, or is it my job?
It's primarily your job, but we'll help you with some of the tools. I mean, apart from actually having a nice presence, i.e. a nice website, there are a lot of things you can do. For example, you can work with social media, since it's also part of the whole archive system to publish, but also to communicate. It's part of what we do in a single system. Others do that too. Why don't you show an interested public, i.e. your potential customers, what you have in stock? If you happen to have met somebody, let's say at a fair, you went to Midcom and you met a guy in a lift, and you know he's interested in a kids program for the Japanese market, why don't you show him what you have in terms of kid program? And we have specific collaboration websites for that, which are pinpoint marketing to individual people where you can really say, I have these kids programs, are you interested? And get the dialogue going by showing your goods even individually.
So you offer me the possibility to have the B2B platform, but also the B2C. Could I have all my own end customers on my platform?
Sure, that's another option. If you're running your own VOD platform, you're basically doing B2C as a rule of thumb. So that we build as well. We operate that for large broadcasters, for example. So there's lots of ways of monetizing. And again, you just need a single system, which also does your publication. So if you're not moving files about, you're not growing your environment by adding systems, have one system and do the whole thing with one system. That makes all the difference.
So is it the system personalized for me, or is it a system I share potentially with other customers, and how does it come cost-wise?
Well, there's a number of ways in which you can do it. Usually for those sort of services, every customer has their own system. They can have it on-premise, they can have it hosted, they can have it in the cloud, or, which lots of people do, they have a mix of the above. So a lot of customers would have some on-premise presence because of managing the large files. There are also sensitive files. We need to make sure that they are secure. But then that is coupled with a playout or delivery mechanism also by our company, which sits in the cloud and manages traffic, for example, which is the cloud is great at, while it's not so good at storing stuff in large volumes securely.
So you do also help me with all the reporting, so all the numbers and the analysis of the platform?
Yes, we can do that, especially if it's a bespoke, i.e. we built a platform specifically for you, then that's fairly easy. We simply track what's happening in the platform. Since we're sitting on top of the core data, that's a fairly simple task. If you are delivering, for example, to the Netflix, the Sky, the Maxstones of this world, you're going to get reports from them too. And there are certain things we can do to automate and then aggregate that data even within your archive environment.
So does Flowworks offer the system as a service as well? So could I provide you all my content and you manage that for me, or is it my task?
Well, at the moment, most customers prefer to manage the system by themselves. So they actually have editorial staff. Why do they do that? primarily because a lot of people are still gearing up. They still need to make sure that they have all their content, they have all their metadata. Are they sure they have the rights? It's not an easy business because, you know, contract signed 20 years ago didn't provide for VOD rights. So at the moment, people are still doing it very much by themselves. So we provide the platform, we provide the infrastructure, but we do not operate it for them. But increasingly, we are moving towards partnerships that we enter into with people who can actually manage your content. So we'll offer not just the service and the technology, but the service of editorial management as well.
So how long would it take me to build up my own platform or to deliver to my first video-on-demand portal?
Delivering, that's the easy bit. Delivering to your first portal, or let's say your first 50 portals, if you've got your data nicely lined up, we'll probably have you up and running within 2 weeks, including the specials that you might need because we're talking about a standard product. Mm-hmm. If you're talking about, oh, I really want to have, on top of that, I really want to have my own VOD platform, in that case, we need to find out what would you like that to look like. Again, we're talking about established technology, which we have as modules, but we need to get the look and feel right. So by experience, that takes a bit longer, not just to program it, but because people want to try out the colors and, you know, can we make the font a bit bigger and smaller, which tends to eat up a little bit more time.
And from the cost side, is it like a cost share model? Is it a one-off, I buy and own it? How does it work?
You choose. If you'd like to buy the system in all its parts, you buy the system and then you simply run it. If you care, we'll offer you a support and update contract, which you don't have to sign. And from there on, we can do anything further. We can do a pure rental. We can even do a turnover sharing, where we think that's very interesting content. We will manage the infrastructure as well, so we stay on top of the costs. And then we share the turnover with the customer. So anything is possible. We're a specialized company. We know what we're doing, and we have all the technology bits in place. Others have that too. The important thing is that we have the know-how of how to actually monetize, and that really is only beginning to dawn on people. That owning your archive, managing your archive, getting your archive organized is half the fun. The other half is really making money with your content.
You just mentioned that there are others out there. What is the reason why I should choose Flowworks as my partner?
Well, there are others out there, but I tell you there's not very many. So go shop around, have a look. We've been doing this for quite a long time. There's not very many who actually do it, and we find that we have, by comparison, a high degree of experience. We have the right customers, we've seen all sorts of environments, and we've fixed them. And I dare say we're quite price aggressive because we think monetization is still very much a growth business and there's still so much more to come. So let's get into it right now and let's lower the hurdles because we're in it for the long run, and so should customers also be.
Thank you. So we should try, or you should try to use the system, do your first steps as long as I know, or I do know from our experience together. It's also very fragmented product, so you could start really small and grow to super big. Yeah. And yeah, go there, ask us and try it out. Thank you for watching today. Thank you, Oliver.
Thanks.